What's going on, world? It's your boy Trey for the G.Taylor Show. I have my guy here, Arron Muller from out in New York, the Black therapist. You might know him as on social media. You might hear him on the radio up in New York as well. You might see him in speaking engagements all around. But yeah, the Black therapist. My guy Arron, what's going on, bro? How you doing, man?
What's good, man? How you feeling?
The grind, right? The grind of the
Yes.
semester.
No,
Yes,
all
sir.
too well.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we both of us are in our DSW programs, supporting one another, making it through. You're in your coming at the end of your first year, right?
So I'm in the I just finished my term 2 because
Term two.
we go through the summer.
Okay,
So at the end of August, I'll be done my first year.
got you,
Yeah.
got you. Okay, makes sense, makes sense. Yes. Um, so yeah, man, we were doing that. I'm going into my second year, so that's another one of the things that aligns us outside of working with Black men, mental health, being a therapist, teaching.
Right.
You name it. We have so many cross path
Yeah.
similarities, right? Uh, one of the things that we also share in common, what we're going to talk about today, is our love and passion for cars. And so, if you
Right.
listen way back a few years, maybe like a year, was the last time we was on the podcast? Again? Like a year or two ago, 2 years ago?
Yeah. Maybe not
Yeah,
not last year, year before that.
year before that. Yeah, yeah. Actually, that was about 3 years ago almost.
Is it?
It had to be, or getting around to that when I was doing those interviews. Oh man, where is the time going?
Too
Wow.
too fast.
Yeah. But so when I had him on, I had Arron on last when I was doing a lot of interviews with social workers and therapists, and we were talking about, the field, the profession, things of that nature. And one of the things that he popped up was that he wanted to always be into either own his own
Dealership, yeah.
car dealership, right? And I also used to do car customization and always wanted to, in that space as well. So we are following up and piggybacking off of that. We're not going to talk about a lot about social work, mental health this episode. We're not going to get into any type of DSW type stuff. We're going to go and get into the personal versions of ourselves outside of the credentials and vehicles and cars tonight, man. So I
Yes.
think it's a good little shift, good little break on that.
Nah, I like that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I've been getting some good feedback on my car videos that I did on YouTube, man. People been talking to me about certain stuff. So I think that's been cool, and it should be a dope episode today for sure.
Now that's dope, man, and that you could tap into that side, that creative side, right? That and is very therapeutic. Also, had to bring that in there a little bit, but yeah,
Yeah. we always it's somehow we gonna have to we'll sneak it in somehow, right? Always. Yeah, yeah. So look, man, so tell the audience, man, like, okay, if they don't know a little bit about you, right? Just give them the little synopsis of them, of who you are, what you about, what you do. If at this point, I'm not at this point, I don't know if they don't know you, you've been living on the rock at this point.
nah, come on, nah.
But just share that piece, and then I'm gonna ask you a question about your car situation.
All right, so I am a husband, father, son.
Mm-hmm.
I am doing my doctoral program currently. That has been definitely a shift
Yeah.
uh, in terms of just everything that it takes to make that happen. On top of seeing clients, on top of working a full time job, on top of being in the social media space. I'm not teaching this semester, but I think I will be teaching in the fall again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, it's just of course, Black men's mental health, but overall, just mental wellness in the Black community. I'm very passionate about that.
Yeah.
Definitely, my shift, and I think I spoke to you about that. Is that I still do micro work, and I think it's important, but I definitely recognize the importance of a voice in the macro space and in the policy space. So that's kind of where my focus is going because
Yeah.
we continue to talk about mental health, but if policies suck, people not can afford service, that service is not equitable, then we have a problem.
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
that there's the cultural humility also is important in terms of those who are being seen for service and treatment, that clinicians have cultural humility and understand when working with black and brown people, uh, what it comes with when working with us, recognizing that modalities and interventions may not always been we have not been included in that. So
Yeah,
recognize that, and using things that are special to us and appropriate for us, and incorporating that in the work that we do,
for
right?
sure.
That's important.
Right. Right.
When we look at indigenous theory, black feminist theory, all of that, it's important that we incorporate that in our work.
Right.
And even as clinicians of color, that's important that we um, remember that we don't
Hmm.
always use kind of this Eurocentric lens of in the work that we're doing. But here I'm going on that. Oh yeah, so we talk about that. So
It's so easy.
yeah, so that's my focus. That's what I do. And yeah, other besides that, cars is since I was been born.
Hmm.
I've been born with a car in my hand. I feel like,
Mm.
um, and ironically, like my son, it's like it passes down because
Same.
he
Same.
knows he can name cars. I was naming cars. You know what I'm saying? That's just something, and somehow my wife got infused in it, and she's like in the car game too.
Oh, really?
Um, yeah, like
Nice.
yeah, she gets like just in terms of like, well, what I'm getting next. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She likes
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, she's in it also.
That's what's up. It's a family affair in that sense, right?
Yeah, only my daughter.
Um.
My daughter's not in it. She's very much, glitz and glamour and sparkles and all of that. So she don't really care about cars.
Yeah. Well, somebody got to be, separate from everything, right? You know what I'm saying? Um. So I think it's interesting. Like my son, man, he has like so many vehicles. Like he has a garage at this point, all through the house of just trucks, cars, you name it, everything. And like you said earlier, like I grew up with cars in my hand as well. Like, you know what I'm saying? And Matchbox cars, Hot
Yeah,
Wheels, things of that nature. And it turned into the love for cars that I have today, right? And my daughter, like my 330 I have, she was pretty much raised in that car, like
right.
commuting wise. So she has a special place for that car in her head, and that car has kind of identified as herself. And so, the series Bluey, that series, cartoon series, so much so now I've adopted that my car's name is like OG Bluey, but then like my truck's name is like Bandit or Big Blue, right?
Okay.
Playing off the actual series. And so it's interesting how you can interact, your family within those dynamics. And like my wife knows, like before I got married, like this is part of my thing, right?
Right.
Like that I do, right, and what we can happen going forward. Um, but I want to know for you, what was your first introduction to cars? Like when did it really click? Like, you know what? I love this thing. I want to do something with cars.
Man, my step grandfather, he owned a taxi medallion, so he was always around cars. So
Hmm.
that is like he owned like a fleet of yellow cabs in New York.
Okay.
Um, and I remember like seeing the money machines in the house or whatever like that. But he had a Fiat,
Mm.
and I was so fascinated by it because the hood opened the other way. Right, it
Oh
don't open the
yeah.
traditional. It don't
Yeah.
open
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
It opens back.
Yeah.
So I was always impressed by that, and I'd be like, "Mom, can I go with him? Can I go?" I always want to hang out with him because he'd be in the Fiat.
Hmm.
That
Hmm.
was kind of like, and I remember that at 5 years old, and that's kind of like the age where you start to remember things, right?
Right.
Between 4 and 5.
Right.
So I definitely remember those moments. And he had uh, a 3 Series and a 7 Series BMW. We talking about like
Oh,
19 in the 80, like 80,
in the 80s.
80, 87. No, like 80. I was born 83, like 86,
Got you.
87. Yeah.
Hmm.
He had a 3 series and a 7 series, and I loved it.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So that was
Yeah.
kind of like my first memory of it. And then I started collecting the model cars. So every Friday,
Right.
um, I was the only child at that point. So every Friday, my father would buy me a model car. Every Friday, I got a different one,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, and I'll just collect them. And then I started going on websites, not websites. They have this was catalogs. So I'm dating myself. They had catalogs, and then you would go and
Yeah.
order that. And I would order. This is me like 7 years old. Order. I'm like die-cast model cars, and I know the
Oh,
different sizes. You know, there's an 8.10.
yeah.
That's the big one.
Yeah.
And I just order them, and I had a shelf in my room, and I would just collect them. Yeah, man. Like that was
Wow.
like my first memory.
Did you ever get the diecast models that you had to build out of the box? Like the
I
big ones?
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that I would get a few of them, and then I would start, and then my attention span would never stick.
Same.
I just wanted it ready. You know what I'm
Same.
saying? I wanted it ready, and I wanted it like actual cars that. So I would do from classic, then I would do luxury. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? And man, yo, so I loved the 1987 Sterling, Rover Sterling, which is out of the UK, and I
Mm-hmm.
sent my family on a wild goose chase in because I have a lot of family in London, and
Okay.
my grandmother went. I was like, "You gotta find me this car." She sent and she looked around, looked all over the place, and they was able to find it.
Oh, nice,
Yeah,
nice. They're already put together.
already put together. But
Yeah.
yeah,
See,
so if it was a certain car I wanted, I was looking for that car.
yeah. So I used to collect them at the Hot Wheels and different things and got into that situation. And then like when the ones where I don't know if they still do it now in that level for that big box for that diecast model where you could paint them, you could paint the cars, you put the engines together, you put the wheels together. I think they got a more of a higher upscale one now. But I used to do that, like you said, and just stop. And then I just like, and I get frustrated, and I just
Yeah,
wouldn't finish it at all. Get my dad to do it or something like that, and he get frustrated. We don't have it. We just go buy the real ones
yeah.
already put together. And that was my introduction. But I will say, I think my uncle too, man. My uncle had he was in the game. He had different cars coming throughout the week, so I would see that he had a great Acura Legend, like a '87, which I ended up getting as a. I got a blue one. My dad bought a blue one. That was my first car, but he had a great
Wow,
2-door one. He had a white 3
that's my
Series.
favorite. That's my favorite car. I
The Ac
never got
Legend,
Acura Legend. Favorite car.
so
Favorite
clean,
car.
so clean. Did y'all have a car? Did y'all have a car culture up there in New York? Because I see now is it's like moves around and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But did y'all have like a substantial car culture in your area when you grew up in New York?
Not that I know of. Like, and I see now like they had something last week, but I don't think I was aware of it. Um,
Mm,
and I'm sure like in little towns, you know what I'm saying, they have like car shows and stuff like that. But growing
yeah,
up, like back in the day, not really. But I think as I gotten older, I see that they have car shows on weekends and things of that nature.
right. So yeah, so you didn't go to as many car shows back then, like you think, as
Oh
far like
no.
growing up.
So when I went to the major one, Jacob Javits Center, which is like the major expo, right, where it's
Gotcha.
huge. That's in Manhattan.
Yeah.
I went every year. My father
Oh,
took me
nice.
every year.
Yeah.
Every year without fail, I was at the car show
Yeah.
looking at, you know what I'm saying? And I had to go every year, you know what I'm saying? And then I would bring my son.
Nice.
As I got
Nice.
older, I would bring him, but I had to go to the car show every year. That was like that. You gotta bring me. I'd be like, what day we going? And I would like double check, triple check with him because I got to go to college. I got to see um, what cars was out, what cars is out, and I got to look at my luxury. I always love luxury cars, and
Hmm.
just looking at the evolution over time because like back then it was pickup truck. It wasn't these SUV. It wasn't SUVs out back then like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Besides like the Wagoneer always been out, but it like just seeing the evolution of cars over
Right.
time.
You funny you say that because I remember like with my Accord, I had a '93 Accord. It was like my favorite car. Customized it, lights, system, wheels. Ended up totaling, but it was one of my
Wow.
favorite cars, and a lot of folks knew that car before they knew me. Like
Right.
before social work, anything like that, they would know my car. Like, you know what I'm saying? I remember my dad was like, yo, somebody came up to me and asked me about your car that you had back in high school. And I was like, what you mean? He's like, didn't your son have that car? So in that space, right, it's interesting because I remember vividly, and this is probably dating us, right? that car, that Accord had a car phone in it that didn't
Wow.
work, and then
Right.
it had a tape player, right?
Right.
And so I had to go to Best Buy, but we had smaller shops around the area to get that tape player out so we could put a CD player in it and stuff
Right.
like that. You know what I'm saying? And then I started to learn how to do that stuff, right? And then
Right.
so now you see, like, I remember like when we just got Bluetooth on the actual those aftermarket
Uh-huh.
stereos, and I was like, man, when they gonna make this standard in cars?
Right.
And now you got Apple
And look
Play
at
and
it.
Car,
Right. And there's no more CD players in
right?
cars. No
No
more
more
tape players.
wires, aux
Right.
wires.
Yeah. I had cars that I had an Infinity I-30. That was my first car I bought myself.
Oh man, I almost got one too. I was a
Yeah.
green one I was looking at.
It was like a olive green, dark green with leather interior. It
Yes,
was a
yes,
very mature car.
yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? And I kept it very, very plain.
Mm-hmm.
But I had that was my first car I wanted for myself. You know what I'm saying? Because my grandfather, he had, like I said, he had the 3 Series, he had the 7 Series, and then he had in his Florida house, he had a 1987 Toyota Cressida. And
Cressida.
yeah, Toyota Cressida. That, like, this is the true West Indian
Yeah.
car. And this car was so ahead of his time.
Uh-huh.
So he passed away. So my grandmother was like, I want to bring the car up to New York.
Mm-hmm.
And it came up from Florida, and it was so ahead of its time. It had like the electronic dashboard where it was the numbers. So it
Oh,
goes
okay.
zero. You When it's driving, you go 0, 1, 2, 3. Like, you
Zero.
would see the numbers going.
Yeah.
And this was in 1987 that this
Oh
car was made. So this
yeah.
car was so ahead of its time. So the
I think
day
I
I
just
got,
seen that because we got a JDM spot down in Richmond
yeah,
that gets all of those Euro style cars, and I think I seen it because it's like a big VIP, like kind of a. It's the, is that the it's like the equivalent of the LS to the Lexus.
pretty
That,
much. Yup.
yes,
Straight
yeah,
up. Yup.
yeah, I've seen it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it was so far ahead of his time. And the day I got my license, my grandmother stopped driving. So I started driving her everywhere. And I used to drive it to school. I used to drive it to high school.
Oh
Um
really?
and my now wife but she was my girlfriend back then. She in the passenger seat. Um
Yeah, yeah.
as we leave in school, you know what I'm saying? So that
Was
car
that
was
right hand drive or left hand drive?
the
Right
left
hand.
hand, yeah, it was
Left hand.
left
Okay.
hand, yeah. So it's
Yeah.
yeah, it was and I had loved that car, but then it was a 1987. We talking about I was in high school, what, 2000?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was like, okay, yeah, it's
This time.
then if I'm going through my trajectory of cars, then my father had a 2005 Kia Sophia
Okay.
that he gave me that had no heat. So I was driving with no heat in that joint.
Oh, all of us got those type of stores.
Yeah,
No heat, no AC.
no AC, roll down windows, man.
Yeah.
I would and I started college. So I was driving into college.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, all right, no car payment. All right. I was like, no, I can't do this no more. So I kept the Kia,
Uh-huh.
and then I got the Infinity I-30. So then I would drive the Kia to school,
Uh-huh.
and then when I was going out, I would drive the Infinity.
Yeah.
So
Why not?
right.
That's
I'm like 20. I'm like 20,
hmm
and I got two cars.
same.
Yeah.
Like this is a night and day mirror of the New York based version
Right.
and the Virginia based version, right? Because so for us down here, right? I'm in a rural area in Virginia, and so car culture is is major down here, car and bike culture. So I grew up like my homeboy stayed in the front of me on the major highway, and so all his uncles and everybody had bikes. And
Mm.
so then in the summertime, everybody around the area and they race bikes. So then everybody in the area will come around and bring bikes. But then the subset of that is also all the boys around the area, because like my cousin, he build race cars. Like,
Mm.
so I have the race car culture and car culture all mixed in, and bike culture around me in this whole area. So then like it's a bunch of old school. Everybody got an old school, or everybody got a vet. I think 3 or 4 of my guys, cousins, they got like different versions of the vet. Like, you
Right.
know what I'm saying? And so it's kind of ingrained. And my dad, he also had his own different cars, stuff like that. But like he had stuff like that I would rock with. Um, he had a clean, and I'm still after one right now. He had a clean Cutlass Supreme, black,
Wow.
like 86,
Classic.
87. And I have not got that car out of my head since I was a youngin'. I had to be like 5, like you said, 5, 6, 7. And I am still trying to get one. It's probably gonna be my next one I do get. But just, having that, and then, as I grew up trying to get different cars, because then I got stuck on Honda. My first
Right.
car was an Acura Legend,
Right.
and he had bought that, gave it to me when I first started driving. I was moving in that zone, but then like one day I was on a date, and then the whole exhaust fell off, and I had to
No,
put the
man.
exhaust through the trunk in the back seat with my ex-girlfriend was in the seat, like in high school. It was nuts, right?
Yeah, that's a
So that's
lot.
when I get my Honda, my 93 Honda Accord, and it was emerald green, and I did the headlights, taillights. I did green LEDs that stayed on the whole entire time. I had 17s, had system in it. And when I wrecked that, I ended up getting the old school. So that's when I got an 86 Pontiac Grand Prix. Didn't have AC.
Wow.
The AC didn't work. I didn't want to recharge it. So, and it was the one that was, nowadays you got the updated AC, but back then that AC wasn't the one you could use anymore.
Right.
And had an old school and got a second car, like a little had like a Mazda 323 I bought from my man's, and that's what I would commute with to
Okay.
VCU, was my
Right.
323, and learn how to drive stick from my homeboy. On try to drive stick. He sold me the car, then he taught me how to drive it. Learn how to drive stick with that, and I would commute to VCU with that. Come back home Friday night, get the old school, wash the old school up, run the old school back down Richmond.
Right. So you know how to drive manual?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of people could. Yeah, I learned how to drive again. West Indian culture.
Yeah.
My mom's boyfriend always had um Toyota. Love Toyota. So it
Yeah.
was Toyota Corolla,
Mm-hmm.
2 door. You know what I'm saying, with the system,
Yeah.
and he loved stick shift. And the Kia was down. I had to
Mm-hmm.
get to school.
Mm.
I learned. He gave me like a quick tutorial,
Yeah.
and that was it. I drove to school, man. So that's how I learned
No
to
better
drive.
way to learn it.
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
no choice because I'm
Yeah.
like, yo, I'm not getting on. It was a good way on a bus from my crib to the school. So man, I took I said, yo, I'm gonna just drive it, man. So I
Mm-hmm.
haven't driven manual in maybe over 20 years though, but
Really? It's been it's about 10, 15 years now at this point, because all mine's been automatic at
so
this
yeah.
point. But I remember vaguely having that 323, because I ended up crashing that too. And then I bought I stalled out down in Richmond. Me and my cousin stalled out. He was like, yo, I was like, good, hold on. And so now he mimics what I used to do when I was shifting in his automatic, because he used to see me do it all the
You're right.
time. And I was like, yo, bro, you have an automatic, it's okay. But I did oh, no, about 7 years now, because I bought a Civic. I bought a Honda Civic, 97 Honda Civic. It was lowered, slammed on some wheels, and I drove that back and forth to. No, wait a minute, go back, wait. I bought Before I started my grad school. I had 2 cars. I bought an Infinity G35.
Hmm.
That was my main car when I got out of undergrad, and then I had bought when I started commuting to George Mason. I bought a Nissan, like a 1990 240, and it was stick shift for
Okay.
$900. It was horrible, beat up, but it was a stick shift. Worked on that, but it didn't get right. I got it, finally got it right at the end, and sold it. Bought a Civic, 97 Civic lowered, and that was my commuter car back and forth for the last 2 years of grad school. And that was about 2014, 2015. That Civic was probably one of my top Honda cars that I had that had no issue. And I was shifting, eating, drinking coffee at the same time, all the way up 95, all the way back 95.
Yeah, that's a good car.
Solid, bro. Solid. No, even when it ran hot, I threw some water in there and it ain't run hot later on for the rest of the time. And then I ended up selling that to my cousin who passed away recently.
Oh wow.
And he had it, and but yeah, he took it off the roads on that stuff. So, but yeah, stick shift. I don't mind stick shift. I don't want it now. I do
Right.
want it now, but I don't want it now. I don't want it as my daily right now.
Not as daily, but you know, I think it'd be cool, depending on what it is,
Yes.
to rip and run in. You know what I'm saying? Just
Yeah.
you know. I think be cool.
Yeah. That's the thing now because I got my wife. She don't know how to drive the stick. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if I get a stick, is she gonna be like, if she gotta use it, is she gonna be available to drive it and stuff like that? So
Yeah. So that
yeah,
it gotta be like a third car.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so you said you was big into luxury brands, right? Coming up, and I was big into old school domestic and Hondas, right? I
Hmm.
just got into the luxury realm,
Right.
realistically. But tell me your top three luxury brands that you rock with.
Top three.
Yeah.
Okay. So I got to put Porsche in there.
I knew. I was going to say exclude Porsche, but we get included there. I'm growing. Porsche's growing on me so much right
I mean, I love it. You know,
now.
uh, it's just it's a smooth ride. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's you know, they say that they said that once you go in there, you can't go into anything else. We'll see, but
Right.
we'll see.
Yeah.
Uh, but I love it. So when to add in there BMW always,
Hmm.
and my third. What's my third gonna be? I'm gonna go with we go with luxury. Because it's so weird because then there's luxury, then there's performance. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I, I don't, I don't. So one, I want to before I say this that the style, the way that cars drive,
Hmm.
I don't like the way the cars drive now. Even
Hmm.
the luxury brands like BMW, Benz. It used to be a firm, hard. Like the steering wheel was
Yes.
heavy. The
Yes.
gas pedal was heavy. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I had an E350 2017
Hmm.
E350,
Hmm.
and it was heavy.
The E class. Yeah.
Not 2007,
Yeah.
2007,
Yeah.
2007.
Wow.
Um, so I miss that aggressive, uh, heavy drive that these luxury brands used to have. Now everything is eco-friendly and light, and the steering wheel is like a feather.
Drive
You know what I'm
by
saying?
fire, flower. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like the X when I first got introduced to the X 5 to
Hmm.
2004,
Hmm.
you needed two hands to make a left turn.
Yeah.
That's how heavy the steering wheel was. But you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You felt it.
Right. It's I read a review on that not too long ago. That was just some of the BMW enthusiast gripes of the newer BMWs, especially like the M3 and stuff like that. Was like, yo, they have this new drive by system with the steering wheel where you can't feel the car anymore.
You can't feel a car no more.
Yeah, you can't feel the car no more. And BMW is a staple for that.
Yeah.
I know my '05 drives just like what you're talking about. Like I haven't driven in about a year and a half, which I need to get it back on the road. Just need a battery and some tune-up stuff, but it drives just like that.
Yeah.
You can feel the car. It's also one of the ones that does not have a turbo, right? So it's all naturally aspirated.
Hmm.
It just drives different. That's what I loved about it so much. Now, my truck, which is a 16, it still has a little bit of those elements. It has a little bit of the new stuff and then that old feel
Is it
of the
M?
no,
Okay.
no M. But then it also has 20s on it too. So it's like, you got your
Okay.
20s on it and then you have upgraded, brakes and then the exhaust is upgraded too. And that came with the truck. Somebody did all that work and you know, made it like that. But it drives really well. It drives really well, and it's a mix. It's a mix. So you're right. I haven't driven. But I will say this. I'll say this because I did the BMW experience maybe like last year, year before that. Um, it's a BMW experience, the M experience, something like that. M whatever,
Hmm.
where they bring like the high performance cars, the
Yeah.
electric
I used to
ones.
I used to do that too. And
Yeah.
they let you drive the competitors' cars too. So I did it. I would
Oh.
drive the BMW in New York, and then I was driving like a Benz convertible. So it let you drive different ones. I just signed up for that too.
Yeah, I didn't know they let you drive competitors. See, they only let us
Yeah.
drive like the M3, the iX, stuff like that. And the M3, the F80 one, the newer one, was it F80G or whatever, I can't remember. Um, that one was it feel like everything. You can feel the car, you can feel it, computer, you can feel the aspect, you can feel everything in that car. So I wonder if it's just like, maybe some of the more of the ones that, lacking the like it's not as the performance piece of it.
Right.
That
Because we
comes
had
with
we
it.
had an M we had an M X6,
Mm-hmm.
and it was still relatively light. Cause
Really?
I thought, yeah, because I thought maybe it would have been heavier,
Yeah.
but it was
Mm-hmm.
still light. And then we had the GLE 63 AMG.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, that was that was I. I think it was a little bit heavier,
A little bit heavier.
and because
Yeah.
we came out of an X6, and then we went into the
Mm.
the AMG, and I feel like that was a little bit heavier, and then we went back to X6 again.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, that has been a big issue. I think I've been reading up on that
Yeah,
here and there, like this that new fit, like removing that drivability aspect of it.
yeah,
And I think that frustrates the BMW enthusiasts outside of the some of the designs at this point with
yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So my third
Um.
one would be I love the big body range, man. I know that people talk about that they give trouble. Um, I've never heard like people I know that have it. I haven't heard that they've had issues with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Bashe got
saying?
one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Yeah.
never heard people have issues with it. But I love that big body range, man. Like,
That big body range is a state is like a statement. Like, and I'm gonna tell you what happened one time. Like, I ain't really been big on Range Rovers like that until I seen a few, and then Bashe showed me his, and I was like, oh, that's different.
yeah,
But like I was at a gas station. I was coming out of class. I'm gonna go I usually go get gas at this gas station close to campus. So I got my truck, of course, and then like the Range, white Range with some black wheels pull up, and I'm just like, oh, I see. I see. My truck ain't doing my little X5 over here ain't doing nothing compared to the performance it might, but
right.
other than that, I'm like, oh, okay, I see what's going on right now. I see it. I see it. I don't know if I would buy one, but I see
Yeah,
why, folks would, what I'm saying.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
just yeah, bro. I like. So since I've gotten to this big truck era, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying. It's hard to um go back, man. I got when I had the Escalade, man. Like that was a time.
That was a time. You was on a different type of time. That's why I knew you was
Yes,
on a different type of time.
I
Well,
I,
now
I
too
love that.
recently,
I
but
love that truck. Love that truck. You know what I'm saying? But I lease. I enjoy leasing because I love cars so much.
yeah,
I I can't. I can't. I don't like to stay in one vehicle.
makes sense. I need to probably adopt the same policy,
Yeah, I
but
mean, some people find it a waste of time, but tomato, tomato,
yeah,
or
yeah,
waste of money or anything like that. But I enjoy leasing. I enjoy leasing. You don't have to deal with the negative equity and being
right.
upside down. Um, and if some people find one car, they ride it till the wheels fall off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Maybe I'll get to that point, but right now, right, I enjoy. So when my Escalade with the lease was up on that, I was looking like to get into another one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it had ballooned up the price so much.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
I always want to be mindful and be as much as an educated consumer as possible with
right.
being in the lease, right?
Yeah.
But still, I was like, nah, I can't do it. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, it went up like 40K.
Oh wow, wow.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I had to make a decision. So I went and got the Tahoe. I had a Tahoe before I got the Escalade.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back to Tahoe again. Um, but I got the RST, which is the same engine
As
as the
Escalade.
Escalade.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I said if I go back to Tahoe, it got to be the RST. I
That
had the,
Tahoe's nice.
I had the Z71 before,
Mm-hmm.
which was the off road joint. But
Mm-hmm.
the tires would just go boom, 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 because it was the off road tires,
Oh,
and it was
yeah.
mad annoying.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You pay
three
all that
years I
money.
was in that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So so you so you've experienced these SUVs on a high level. Do you feel like that RST Tahoe is comparable to the Escalade? Not
Oh,
luxury. We know
bro.
luxury. We know
So
luxury.
right. So it has similar,
Yeah.
right? It looks similar, right?
Right.
But there are, and my wife reminds me all the time. She said, "This is not the Escalade." She was like, it's like
It be the wife. It be the wife, man. It be the wife.
right. So man, the sound system right from the back, it sounds like I was the cap, flying because it would sound like it's like a mic,
Yeah.
so that people in the back could hear. You know what I'm saying? It was different, bro. It was different.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
for space wise, I love it. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? It fit the whole family in there.
Mm-hmm.
So it works.
Yeah.
But that new IQ joint, man, the electric joint, the big.
Yeah.
I saw my lease guy, man. He's like, let's see, man.
Yeah. You
I was,
think
I
about
said,
it?
I said, where am I plug it in, man? Like, he
That's what I'm
said,
saying.
yeah. He
Yeah.
was like, bro, there might be some good incentives on it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I told him we'll revisit that when the time is up. But the new joint, it got the whole dash across is
It's a
screens.
screen. Yeah. Yeah. That's I've been peeping them jobs. I'm like, yo, that's a whole different beast, yo.
Yeah,
How do you feel about that though, as a car guy? How do you feel about the EV stuff? Like, I go back and forth.
I do because then I know for a fact I'm not going to get that drive because the Esky, you felt
Mm-hmm.
that I
Mm-hmm.
felt. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying
Yeah.
on the highway with that, and I know with the electric you're not going to get that.
You're not gonna get that. So I think that's gonna be the deterring factor. You gonna have
So
to,
I think
yeah.
so if I'm looking for that drive, I'm not going to get it. I'm gonna get the elegance though, but not the drive. And then for me to be, I'd be anxious about where I'm gonna plug it in, and like
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I don't want to
Yeah.
be
Yeah. Stuck.
worried
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah. I my homeboy got he got a Model Y. And he loved it, but he came from a he was came from cars or whatever. He enjoyed it, but he a tech guy, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it fit everything in his
Yeah. Yeah.
aesthetic, around that. And I drove a Model Y. Um and it was a different experience. It just feels like everything is just sound deafening, right?
Right.
Um, I'm not a big fan of Tesla anymore, but
Right.
I'm looking at possibly I want to test drive the Rivian, right? And I want to
Mm-hmm.
see what's the difference with that Rivian. Um, they got two more versions coming out, the R2 and R3, but I want to look at the R1S and I want to test drive that. We got a center down here that allows you to test drive them and see. Cause I want to see the difference. I want to feel the difference. I got an X5. I have my wife's Pathfinder, right? So I got a best of both world type
Right.
thing. But all right, so tell me what this big electric SUV feels like. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And it doesn't make sense, because is it going to make sense, payment car wise, gas wise, maintenance wise, but also fulfill the car person in me as well?
Yeah.
Because that makes sense to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Absolutely.
If I'm gonna drive something, I want to make sure I enjoy it. And
That,
I've driven things
that's
that I did not enjoy.
for me. That's important. And I'm always thinking about, like, Aaron. Your father, your husband. You gotta you gotta be responsible and all that
Yeah,
other crap.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, I don't want to be. You know what I'm saying? But then, it's so we're constantly thinking about that, right? Like I said, you want to be, and that's why I went into the Tahoe, right? So I was like, I didn't want
best
to,
of both worlds.
yeah. So I was like, I'll do that. One, because I need the space. Two, is similar. I didn't want it. I didn't want any smaller vehicle, but I didn't want the price tag of the 24 Escalade.
Gotcha. Yeah. Would you ever go back to a car?
Bro, I don't think I don't know if I could do that, bro. I don't know if I could do that. Like,
Yeah.
it's between my knee problems and my long legs, and yeah, it's just
That's
the room is very important.
yeah.
And I
Yeah.
could throw the kids' bikes back there. My son got a little dirt bike, my daughter bike, and we go to bring them to the park and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't have to ask nobody. Like, hey, I need something moved. I had to pick up something from Home Depot. Man, I put the seats down.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I have to
You
get
good to
stuff
go.
from our storage unit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I just put the seats down. I don't have to ask nobody for nothing. Literally, I could do my transport stuff myself. So for me, that's important.
Yeah.
Airport runs. You know what I'm saying? Families coming in.
Okay.
Everything
Yeah.
fit. Everything
Yeah.
fit. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
that, man, the X6, the M, it was like a coupe. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
It's got
nothing fit
all
in the
that.
trunk. Nothing fit in the trunk, man. Like, we go
Mm-hmm.
if we take that truck, we got stuff all in the car with the kids and everything. It's like
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
no room. There's no
Yeah.
room. But the Cayenne is spacious.
Really?
The Cayenne is spacious.
Huh. Didn't know that. I looked at when I was looking at it, and I was like, it doesn't it seems similar to size to my X5. And that's
Yeah,
the only gripe I have with my X5 is that it it's it's spacious enough for me and the kids and my wife, but luggage is 1, 2, we done. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Yeah,
yeah. But yeah,
yeah.
the Tahoe we got space, but the Cayenne is yeah, the Cayenne it's roomy inside. I mean, I had to get it detailed
Mm-hmm.
the other day because the kids is having a grand old time in there. I'm like, bro, do y'all not know what's happening here?
Don't.
You know
No,
what
they
I'm
don't.
saying? They have
Absolutely
no
don't,
idea.
bruh. You ain't got to tell me. As much as they get mines and they start just going wild, I tell my daughter, hey, listen, yo, whatever food you got in there, take it out.
Yeah,
Like, it's not sitting on these seats and stuff like that, man. Some stuff that I be finding in there, bro. And I think about that type of piece of like, if I get a luxury vehicle, like a luxury car, and then I got the kids and they doing whatever back there, I'm gonna feel away. I'm gonna feel away
yeah,
versus my truck, where it's like, well, at least it's my truck. I can get stuff quick, knock it out, get it out the way, stuff like that. Um, but
yeah.
yeah, nah, that I definitely understand that, bro. I definitely understand that. So you don't. So do you mess with the old school cars at all?
Nah,
Not at all.
definitely more, definitely like luxury and modern. That,
Man,
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to come up to New York with the old school for you, man. Let's so you can get to the whole experience, man. And it might
yeah.
be just be a southern thing too. You know what I'm
Everybody,
saying?
I think so. I think so. I think the like what I could appreciate. I think for me, old school, my conceptualization is the '94 Acura Legend, like that, or a
Okay.
'92 Honda Accord,
Yeah.
like those,
Yeah.
and a
Old
Nissan
school like
Nissan
JDM.
Maxima. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. That makes
yeah,
sense.
yes.
That
But
makes
I'm not classic. Nah, give me like the '87 Nissan Maxima.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So everything I'm talking about is like I said, is so West Indian. This is this they all that was definitely the thing.
Yeah.
You had a Maxima, you know what I'm saying, a Honda Accord, or you had the Toyota Cressida. That's what we love. Toyota, Honda, Nissan. You can't go wrong with that.
That's the culture thing, yo. Culture
You
thing.
cannot go wrong with that. And they do love BMW. But
Yeah.
you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah. And that's interesting, like I said, because like I said, down here, man, it's like it's heavy on domestic Chevy is the big, big old school that they rock with a lot around here. And then, you know what I'm saying, of course, Honda and stuff like that. But it's either you're gonna be Chevy or Ford, Mustangs, or Camaros or Vets.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And so then you pull out the BMWs or stuff like that. That's the foreigns, and then you start getting side eyes like, how you get that? But it's like,
No,
but you got a
wow.
vet. You got a vet. That's like, you know what I'm saying?
Right. The vets ain't
Um,
cheap.
yeah. And so it was like that. It's wild though. Like when I was in high school, like I had my Honda Accord, and my two homies back then, they had Mustangs. They had '04, '05s. One had like a cherry red, deep cherry red joint. He had, and then my man's had like a mineral gray one, and then he ended up getting a black drop top one in high school. And that was so it was like them with their Mustangs and me with my Honda Accord
Right.
back then. And I was like, oh y'all got it, y'all four guys. I'm gonna be the JDM first, and then I stayed there and went old school, kind of back and forth. But then like my man's, he did at the point in time he put me on BMWs, and so I've been kind of BMW JDM since, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, since the last few years at this point. So it's interesting, man. I think that the cultures in the different areas have their
Yeah.
own thing. Hmm.
It definitely will dictate, what the cause is and stuff. But yeah, definitely I would say now I'm definitely into like a nice clean luxury car. I'm so good in that, and I'm not even like a mods person. Like I'm not, because I'm so consumed with everything else.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm like, it's just let me just get in it and go, and I want to make sure it's clean, all that stuff.
yeah.
So I'm gonna make sure it's clean and stuff. But
My cousin's like that. He
I don't do no, I ain't do no mods on the Cayenne is plain as the day it came, and the Tahoe is too.
yeah. Well, I mean, Porsche, like they got their own. Like I was looking through the website and building them. They was just looking at the different combination configurations of everything, and I was like, yo, that is wild that you could put stuff together on that, and like the next person will not have that
Right.
that type of conversation and configuration. Do you is there a vehicle out there? We'll get ready to close out. Is there a vehicle out there that you would like to build from scratch? And what would that be?
I'm building that big body range, man.
Okay, okay, yeah.
I'm building that big body range, and yeah, I want a nice. I don't I don't want black.
Mm-hmm. Black is hard to keep clean.
Black is hard to keep clean. Black shows every scratch.
Yes, yes,
Shows
everything.
every scratch.
Every,
I made a mistake in getting black, but I didn't know what other color to get
yeah,
in the Tahoe that would look good, because it looks nice at really, looks nice at night when it's
yeah.
clean, it's black. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want white, because I'll be honest with you,
Mhm.
there's a different white between a BMW white and a Chevy white. It's a difference.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I agree.
in the paint.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
they're white, you know what I'm saying? It got little sparkles in it, little it's a
Yeah.
different type of white.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I feel like the Tahoe white wouldn't really pop
Hmm.
in the RST.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I seen it in the red, but then I look like I'm part, the captain of the fire brigade.
I
So
was gonna ask the red because my deacons, one of my deacons got a red one, a deep red one. That joint.
I want to look like I'm part of the fire because up here that's what the captain the firehouse drive
Oh, okay. Okay. Makes sense. It makes sense.
is red. So
Yeah.
and the silver, I don't think do much. It's like I saw like a silver one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like it. I don't feel like it did anything to it.
What about the blue
So
one?
the navy, I think maybe the only navy blue that I saw like a navyish blue one,
Yeah.
but I had the Esky in white. Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it would be I would build a white, big body. You know what I'm saying? Then it got the reclining seats
Mm-hmm.
and it got the massage seats in the back.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because some ranges go up to 200,000.
Yeah. Yeah. I know they start you keep adding on and building them.
Keep adding, and I think just because the sport is like 112
Right.
for a
Yeah.
sport.
Yeah. See.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The more you build, the more you put stuff on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Nah.
sport is like 112. So now the big boy, I think it's like 140.
Okay. Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's up there. You know what I'm saying? But if you're talking about my dream, I'll build that.
Build that. Okay. Makes sense.
Well, what about you?
Oh, so many things I want to build. um, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't really want to build an X5. I like the X7s. I think if I would love to build an M5 out, option it out and build it out. But if I wanted to be really, really true with myself, I would build out an M3.
Okay. The new
That's what.
style,
Huh?
the new body style.
Yes. Yes. Well, yeah, this I don't like. Yeah, somewhat the newer ones. Yeah, the newer ones. Even the grills that grew on me. But I drove a M3 comp at that M touring thing, and I fell in love that day. I knew that they drove different, but I found out that day, and I fell in love down to the bucket seats, the bucket carbon seats. This it's just so many things, and it was like a Phoenix yellow, not the Phoenix yellow, but it was like the lime green yellow.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing. So I would build out an M3. I would build out an M3.
Okay.
Yeah, M3, just because of the drive and everything. And the M3s just drive different than a regular 3 Series. So yeah, and then the
Okay.
old school too. But
Of
I think that's
course.
huh.
I said, of course.
Yeah, that's always attainable. Like I'm plotting on that now, trying to figure out how I can build me an old school and start getting to some car shows down here. But
Yeah.
hmm yeah, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Um, last before we get out here, man. This is fun, man. This is good. This is a break from all the rest of the stuff that we talk about on a daily basis.
All
For
right. Right. Yeah. I mean, I like that. You know what I'm saying? We're not bashing nobody. Not,
hmm
we of course we talk about mental health all the time, right? We're not talking about scholarly articles and theories and all of that stuff. Just it's good to kind of take a break.
right,
Um,
refreshing.
Even as us being professionals, because it's so interesting. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't trying to, talk crazy about it, but it's interesting that people that are not in the profession are probably talk about it more than we do. Um, it's like
Yeah,
I don't want to all the time. Be honest.
yeah. Nah, can we talk about 24/7? You know,
Right.
I think I realized the other day, not the other day. I realized like last semester or the semester before this semester, like I am involved in social work 24/7 at some point. Like when I wake up, it's social work. Like
Right.
if I'm teaching students,
Yeah.
supervision, theories, you know what I'm saying? And so to take that time to reset and remove myself from that. And there's a lot of people don't that know me from my car days and don't know me, my social work days, or they know like or a lot of people that know me as a social worker but don't know my car stuff. Like,
Right.
that was part of me before I even got into this space. And really my car business had, kind of set the standard for what I did and the work that I do now. So it's
Yeah.
been a good time, man. This has been a good
Yeah.
time. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Absolutely. And right, and people don't know. Like a lot of people look at me like a professional and everything,
yeah.
and I'm like, man, I worked for Enterprise Rent a Car for 11 years, washing the cars.
Oh wow.
I was
Wow.
what they call a car prep.
Yeah, a car prep, a car porter type thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I started working there. I was working on my associate's degree, right? Out of
Mm-hmm.
high school, and they came there and was looking for people to do different jobs. I'm like, yo, bet with cars, like you, say
Yeah.
less, right?
Yeah.
And right, and this is the part that got me. It was a management trainee. So they said that enterprise is like running your own business.
Mm-hmm.
So you be getting a management trainee program,
Mm-hmm.
and you will like learn how to do budgeting, everything in terms of like running it like your own practice. And I'm like, well, that's similar. Well, own business. I said, well, that's similar to like I want to do. I'm like, I could do a rent a cars.
Yeah.
And I went on an interview, and it was like, well, you didn't get accepted for the management trainee program. I was so disappointed.
Oh man.
But, you know, God was ordering my steps back then.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I haven't realized it. Right. So it was like, well, we have this car prep opportunity. You would like wash the cars and get them ready to be rented.
Right.
And I was like, okay, well, all right,
Yeah.
since I can't do that, but I'm like, so I'm gonna be, in the cars, whatever, like that.
Mm-hmm.
So got the job, started working at Enterprise, and now I'm doing my associate's degree, and I'm at the same branch, and they shift branch managers whether they leave or they go to different locations where they get
Right.
promotions and stuff. So another branch manager will come in, and before they leave, they be like, "Yo, this is Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
You need him,
Yeah.
right?"
Right.
They wouldn't introduce nobody else. They was like, "You need him, right?"
Yeah.
So then they'd be like, now I work again. I knew I had all the cars lined up, have the car ready to go. I
Right.
would listen, listen, and that's where the listen skills started. So I would
Mm.
listen like from the garage, and the person like, okay, I'm gonna take that Pontiac Grand Prix. I would pull it up without even them having to tell me the car's ready, car's clean,
Nice.
because I pay attention to detail, like
Yeah.
cars. So I had everything like car was clean.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
order supplies. I'm ordering armor oil for the tires, everything, inside, interior. I'm doing a
Right.
quick detail. So
Right.
the cars look dope, cars smell good, and I got the car ready to go.
Nice.
Um,
Okay.
so
Okay.
then so now I graduated and got my bachelor's degree. They're
Mm-hmm.
like, nah, you can't leave. I was like, guys, I gotta go.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
like, nah, you can't go. They was like, nah. So I got a job at this a drug treatment program, the methadone clinic. And they was
Uh-huh.
like, can you do in the afternoons? So I would leave, take off my shirt and tie, then change into shorts and a shirt and wash cars until they close. And I would work there from like 3 to 6, 4 to 6.
Oh snap! Wow. After getting the bachelor's and working at the methadone treatment.
Yeah. And
Wow.
then I got my master's and was still there. I said, guys, now I gotta go.
Yeah.
Right. So I was there from my associate's degree to my MSW. I graduated. I left there after I got my MSW. A little still after I had a master's degree, and I was still going there and washing cars.
Wow. Yeah.
But I really got to drive everything.
Yeah. That I'm about to say you get to drive, park,
I,
do what you
I
need to
drove
do.
Jeep Commander when it first came out. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
The Volkswagens trucks that came out. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And I started in 2022 when it was like a Geo Metro. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
wow.
That Geo Metro, bro, like that was the cheapest car you could get for 19.99. People used to come. They were like, "Yo, can I come and get the car for 19.99 per day?" It was a Geo Metro. I used to shine it up,
That's wild. I never knew
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
I never knew that. I didn't even know
Yep.
they had them there still in 20 something like that. That's wow. That's
2002, they had the Geo Metro. That was for 1999. I'm like, that's for 1999. I used to clean it up. People used to rent it.
yeah, yeah. That's okay. You gotta do what you gotta do, right? Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I think that's and I think that centers. It's interesting you say that because I got like the attentive listening, and also like the detail, the attention to detail, which it translates to the work that we do on a daily basis.
Hmm.
I think about I was thinking of talking to one of the marketing guys, and what we did for our business, we was car customizing. We did like tint windows, plastic dip, which would change the color of your car, like a rubberized coating, and you can spray the car down with it, and you can change colors. You can do like pearls and flakes and stuff like that. And so we offered that in grad school.
Hmm.
How we built the marketing was we did everything to our cars. So our
Right.
own cars was our own marketing, and they knew that we've been doing that type of work for quite some time. And so I took that same model for like mental health advocacy and building the mental health brand around. Okay, well I'm gonna be the person that say when you think about mental health, think about Trey, right, in this space in Virginia, and built it from that. And that
Yeah.
what I'm saying, and then kind of add into that, like if I'm gonna offer therapy, then I got to go to therapy too, right? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So just marketing myself, in that manner. But I did that based upon us and our car customization stuff. So I
Right.
think that a lot of it is intertwined. As we our upbringing and our attention to detail, and ended up being therapists, social workers, professors and things of that nature because our attention to detail with cars. And I still would love to do a car collaboration with one of these big brands if they want to reach out and work with us.
Word, right? Because I see that space, man. Like, even there's a lady on TikTok. They're talking about something about mamas. She always talking about something mamas, and then she
Uh-huh.
looks at like cars for like moms and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I know you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
there's what's his name, Forrest.
Forrest. Yeah,
Yeah, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah. That's my
Yeah,
guy. I love
yeah,
Forrest
yeah, yeah. I think I would love that. That would be a dream. You know what I'm saying?
to review cars. Or
Collab.
yeah,
Yeah, I would love that to collab with something like that. I used to wake up on Saturday mornings as a kid, not to watch cartoons, but to watch Motor Week.
yes. I used to wake up and watch Meekum auto auctions.
Wow.
Auto auctions, the Meekum to see all the cars, all the chip foods when they take people's cars and customize them and you know give them back to. I did, yeah. I actually did that for a coworker one time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I coworker her bumper. She needed a new bumper and some other stuff and hubcaps and whatever. So we surprised her. Us as coworkers got some money together and we surprised her to get her car straight. And so me and my homeboys took it to the crib one Saturday off and put a new bumper on it. It was a Grand Marquis. Put a new bumper on it. Put new headlights in. Detailed it. You did
That's
everything.
a
Put it back
that's a
in.
big car. I remember the Grand Marquis because I used to take up spot in Enterprise parking lot.
Yeah,
Huge.
yeah, yeah. It was fun, man. So
Yeah.
I would love to. I would love. We're gonna put a pitch to it right now, just in case it do happen. Like we would, me and Aaron would love to do car reviews with any of the big brands that we are potentially are looking at reaching out or watching this video because we are ultimate car guys and we're social workers and therapists. So it's a good mix. It's a
I
good
like
mix.
that, bro. I like that. We'll put that in
Yeah,
the air.
yeah,
Put that out there.
absolutely. Yeah. But all right, man, this has been a good time, man. Where
Definitely.
can the people find you if they want to look you up?
Catch me the black_therapist on Instagram. If you're in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, catch me every Friday at 6:25 a.m. on 94.7 The Block, New York's No More for Throwbacks. Also, the Jabal Bates Morning Show. I'm also, and he's syndicated in many states.
Nice.
But that information is on IG, and I do Man Mondays on Jamal Bates Morning Show. And then I
Nice.
do Fridays on Miss Jones and Mon up here in New York.
Okay. Oh, you all over the radio now. That's why I'm about to say you're a radio personality at this point.
Yeah, I guess, right? On the Eastern Seaboard, because it's from New York all the way down to Florida.
That's dope.
Um,
That's
yeah.
dope. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, listen, we appreciate you coming on, man, chopping it up with me about talking about cars. This might be a new segment that we add to the podcast. Again, like, share, subscribe to the podcast, the G.Taylor Show. We are on YouTube. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, let somebody know it. And also, we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all your digital streaming platforms. And if we're not on that, please let me know so I can put myself on there. All right. Y'all be easy. Take care. And we will talk soon.